I don't expect him to lift up trees next season.
Liverpool, Premier League champions, yet again!
Is that the resume of somebody to lead a club the size of Liverpool back to the Premier League title and the Champions League?
Salah! It's quite simply stunning from Liverpool.
I think Manchester United have got more in midfield. I think they've got more depth and they've got good players in there.
Arne Slot's Liverpool have reached the promised land.
Arne who?
Arne who? That was the question on every Liverpool fan's mind. Those around Dutch football spoke highly of him, but he was a mystery. Many managers often had a reputation as a player, but Slot's football career had begun at an amateur side known as VV Berkenthal. He broke into the first team as a 17-year-old, but struggled both with injuries and playing time. Eventually, though, he figured it out, becoming a goal-scoring attacking midfielder. He even helped his next club, Zwolle, clinch promotion back to the Eredivisie after 13 years. 50 goals in 164 appearances. Slot had impressed, and he ended up moving to NAC Breda. While he did help Breda finish 4th in the Eredivisie in his first season, their best league finish since 1956, it was clear to him from a young age that he was meant to be a manager.
I think I knew when I was quite young already that I wanted to become a coach or a manager. My father was a coach at an amateur
His
club.
teammates said that he already behaved like a coach in his final years as a footballer. He wasn't the fastest or the most physical, but he excelled due to his footballing IQ, passing, and vision. He was a slow, old-fashioned number 10, with the bulk of his performances coming in the second division of Dutch football. But his limitations helped him see how a team functions as a unit.
The good thing was, as a player, there was always my lack of speed that always set the boundaries. I couldn't go higher because I simply wasn't fast enough. So, and as a manager, being fast or slow doesn't influence your career.
His weaknesses were covered by his teammates like Edwin Graaf, who was willing to do the dirty work while Slot remained a more technical player.
As a manager, and speed of thinking was one of my qualities, I would say, as a player as well.
Often in the locker rooms, he would ask questions to the manager. Why are we using a certain tactic? As a player, he had a vision for how he thought his team should play.
I had my ideas about how I thought football should be played, and I wanted to see if what I thought in my head would be.
While Slot was happy with his playing career, at the back of his mind, he always knew that he could achieve more as a manager. As a result, he didn't hesitate to get into coaching, moving on to the Cambuur club staff after he retired from playing in 2013. He initially worked as a youth coach for a year before being appointed as an assistant coach. After the club was relegated from the Eredivisie in 2016, Slot became the interim head coach of the team along with Sipke Hulsa. The two had Cambuur playing such good football and getting such excellent results that they remained as head coaches for the remainder of the season.
Rodriguez, en die komt en die bal op de paal.
Slot and Hulshoff helped Cambuur climb from 14th to 3rd place in the league, narrowly missing out on promotion to the Eredivisie after losing in the playoffs. In the KNVB Cup, Cambuur reached the semi-finals for the first time in its club's history, having knocked out record winners Ajax. But unfortunately, the club missed out on the final after losing to AZ Alkmaar on penalty. Slot's time at Cambuur was important to his development, but he wanted to continue learning. In 2017, he left to go work for AZ Alkmaar to work as an assistant coach under John van den Brom. It's a testament to Slot's eagerness and willingness to learn that he would leave Cambuur to learn from the manager that had defeated him. Even early in his managerial career, people could see his potential. AZ Alkmaar's technical director, Max Huber, called Slot experienced, studious, innovative, and ambitious. So it came as no surprise that in December of 2018, it was announced that Slot would become AZ's new head coach for the 2019-2020 season. Just as we have seen with this Liverpool team, Slot knows how to make an impact right away.
He's got a toe, but not enough to stop Mohamed Salah. The man on a mission. It's a lovely ball threaded for Luis Diaz. Now Diaz goes for a goal and
became the first coach to win 19 points in his first 8 Eredivisie games. They were defeating the Dutch giants like their 3-0 win over Feyenoord, 4-0 win over PSV, and a 2-0 win over Ajax. Then Slot helped AZ reach the round of 32 in the Europa League. Unfortunately, due to COVID, Slot's time at AZ ended and he joined Feyenoord. Slot succeeded the experienced Dick Advocaat, who had left the club stagnant with his uninspiring football. If Feyenoord were a band, then they were playing terrible music, and it was Slot's job to have them playing a recognizable tune. As we have seen, the Dutchman has a knack for hitting the ground running. During his first season, Feyenoord reached the round of 16 in European football for the first time in 20 years.
In de finale van de Conference League. Feyenoord flikt het. Dat schitterende Europese avontuur krijgt een vervolg.
But on Sunday we play PSV again. And I know your thoughts are not at all over there, but my thoughts are over there because I think we have to show them on Sunday.
In the knockouts, they defeated Partizan, Slavia Prague and Marseille to reach the final.
Stenks, beweging bij een aantal mensen. En Stenks die daarvan profiteert en de bal zomaar binnenschiet. Letterlijk aan de grond genageld. Kenneth Vermeer. Helemaal op het verkeerde been. De ontlading bij AZ.
Although they ended up losing in the final, Slot's impact was noticeable. The team played with high energy, destroying teams with an attacking style that mixed high pressing with possession.
Hier komt de eerste kans en ook gelijk.
Hence why he ended up winning the Eredivisie Manager of the Year. He joined a new club, succeeded the previous manager, and immediately made them good. Sound familiar, Liverpool fans? His success continued into the 2023 season, where Feyenoord absolutely dominated the Eredivisie. They became league champions, the club's first league title since 2017. Slot was awarded the Eredivisie Manager of the Year award again, becoming just the 4th coach to win the award in consecutive years.
But if players come in, I want to create a culture, an atmosphere that players like to be at this training ground.
Not only were Feyenoord winning, but Slot was showing just how good his man management was. He believed that 60% of coaching was the idea and 40% was how well it was communicated. Slot ensured players clearly understood their role and tactics. Not only was he straightforward with the players, but what he said actually came true. According to The Athletic, players were tired of having to play long balls over and over again in training before a match against Marseille. Slot told them that he will explain later. Fast forward to the actual match, and Feyenoord were up 2-0 with both goals coming from long balls behind the Marseille defense.
De wedstrijd is voorbij. En Feyenoord wint deze eerste halve finale Conference League met 3-2.
As a result, the players began to have blind faith in him. Since they believed in his process, he was able to promote and develop young talents like Hartman and Mats Wiefer, who became Dutch internationals under his guidance. Wiefer was playing in the Dutch second tier before Slot seamlessly integrated him into the team. Slot then worked closely with fitness teams to ensure that players were physically prepared for his intense style of play, monitoring workload and easing off when necessary. Slot used a lot of data to make his managerial decision, a concept that he had taken interest in early in his career. Reports even indicated that when Slot began his managerial career, data resources weren't the best, so Slot and his team built their own. But the most important thing was that Slot had an ability to be super adaptable. I'm not talking about just being flexible with tactics, but also being flexible with the coming and going of players. Despite losing stars like Luis Sinisterra, Malacia, and Marco Senesi, Slot rebuilt the squad without a drop in performance, showcasing his ability to maximize resources.
He can get all, the maximum out of the players, and that's what we talked in the beginning,
He prioritized the team over individuals, as he cared about the whole team, not just a single player. It's that exact mentality that helped Feyenoord win their 14th KNVB Cup.
24-0 en is de beker voor Feyenoord uit Rotterdam voor de 14e keer in de clubgeschiedenis. Getrouwde en trouwde gezamenlijk. Feyenoord, de winnaar van het bekertoernooi in 2024. Na een 1-0 zege in de finale op NEC door de goal van Paisal. De trofee blijft in Rotterdam.
In just a short span of time, Slot had disrupted the hierarchy of Dutch football, outshining the big boys like PSV and Ajax, despite working on a stricter budget. Pundits described Slot as one of the greatest coaches in Feyenoord history, and Liverpool, well, they had taken notice. It made sense why Liverpool had wanted him. Slot was an overachiever who sparked a revolution. He was someone who was able to get the most out of the resources available, and he played direct football with a hunger for goals. In many ways, it was an almost identical profile to Jurgen Klopp. But unlike Jurgen, Slot was described as a perfectionist, control freak. It made sense considering how open the Dutchman had been about being inspired by Pep Guardiola.
I was lucky enough that in that period of time there was of course the Barcelona team from Pep Guardiola.
The tactical principles and possession-based rules that he used in his Liverpool side to maintain control were shaped by watching footage of Pep Guardiola's dominant Barcelona side.
Brought me to an idea in ball possession where I felt like, okay, this is the idea I have now, how can I transmit this to my players, make it really simple for them to understand the game in the same way as I thought I understood it.
Watching the way they kept the ball, the way they found each other, the passages of play, for someone as obsessed with football as Slot, it was eye-opening. Seeing how much Slot was inspired by Pep, it made the first City vs Liverpool fixture of the year that much more exciting. Slot's Liverpool had been at the top of the Premier League table, but most people ignored it as a purple patch. Given City's track record of starting the season slow and the number of times they had won the league on the last day, nobody was doubting them. Many managers had been inspired by Pep, but this match showed that the student was becoming the master.
Brilliant from Salah. He's onside, no question about it. Akanji's the nearest man to him. He doesn't want to come out and engage him too early, but when it comes in from Gakpo, he's onside. Aki's playing him on. Brilliant ball across the face of the 6-yard box from Mo Salah, and there's Gakpo in the right position. All he did to do was get contact on it.
2-0 seems like a close scoreline, but the match was anything but close. Slot's side dominated from the first to the last minute. The win had sent a message to the entire league. Liverpool were now 9 points clear in the table, and everybody now knew Slot's name. In the ball derby, one head was shinier than the other. It's always interesting to see how teams begin to embody the qualities of their manager. Under Klopp, Liverpool were loud, aggressive, relentless. Heavy metal football inspired by their manager who wore his emotion on his sleeve. Liverpool are still relentless, still as direct as before, but now they control the speed of the game more.
The old and certainly something of the new, and kind of rotating in midfield, and there seems to be a bit more patience and a slightly more thoughtful defensive.
Control is the key word when describing Slot's style. One of the best ways to maintain control is to remain patient.
Where we are more patient, we have different patterns and different movements to understand where the spaces are and try to exploit them.
He himself has stated that he spends most of his time not thinking about tactics, but how he can articulate his ideas to his players in the best and most simple way possible. That's why even when Liverpool are down a goal, you never see them force things. You don't see them ever panic. There's a sense of inevitability about this team that I used to feel when watching City, that no matter how sloppy they might be playing or if things aren't going their way, somehow they're going to secure the win. Great example was the Leicester game. They go down in the 6th minute to an Ayew goal, and the rest of the half play really sloppy football. 73% possession, but they forced just one save from the keeper. In the second half though, Liverpool came out sharper, better movement, more composure on the ball. They began to carve Leicester open. In the first half, Liverpool were spamming crosses. According to The Athletic, Liverpool had attempted 33 crosses, 19 more than any of their previous first halves. This made life really easy for Leicester because, well, they could just park the bus. But at halftime, there was a clear change of strategy. They only attempted another 11 crosses before the final whistle. It was yet another example of Slot showing his ability to change games from the bench. The calm, more calculated approach is reflective of Slot's calm nature.
Probably one of the reasons why I'm composed is because I have a lot of trust in my team, and the work I had to do is already being done. So that is the work you do during the week, that's the work you do in pre-season.
He is as charismatic as Klopp was. Just look at how he handled the whole Salah contract situation with the media.
Even offered to stay yet in the club, so probably I'm more out than in. So
the only thing I can say is if I look at my lineups, Mo is more in than out.
But he's more calm than Klopp, more neutral, although even he loses it sometimes.
There are too many decisions going against you, then even I can lose my composure. At least that's what I thought, that too many decisions went against us in that game.
As I said before, what makes Slot so special is that he's very adaptable.
It depends on the other team as well. So we change a lot.
Liverpool have an identity, but tactically they are flexible depending on the condition.
He's explained a lot how positioning is so important in football and where you are, even when the ball is completely on the other side, where to be, and that changes throughout games and for each and every game, depending on how the opposition is.
We have seen Slot push Trent into midfield as an inverted fullback, but some games he will keep the wingbacks wide. We have seen him use Luis Diaz as a striker to make the attack unpredictable. Combine the way they press with more control and possession, and you can see that Slot's team is more solid defensively.
So we were talking about control, and if you talk about control, one of the things you want to prevent is the counter-attack. So that's why I use the word counter-attack a few times.
Slot ball is a direct contrast to the often chaotic football of Klopp.
And they used every moment they could to play the ball in behind or deep. That meant that the game was always also sometimes a bit open, especially in the last period of Jurgen.
Now, while Slot is a tactical genius, his man management is incredibly underrated. If you guys want to feel like you are a player being managed by Slot, you have to go to buygamejerseys.com and get yourself a Liverpool kit. Use code PETTALKS for a discount. Liverpool didn't need new signings because Slot rejuvenated certain players to a point where it felt like they were new signings. Gravenberch went from being a player that was barely used to arguably the very best midfielder in the world. He had shown flashes under Klopp, especially in the Europa League, but an ankle injury slowed him down and he didn't really fit the German system. In Klopp's 4-3-3, Gravenberch wasn't defensively solid enough to play as the sole 6. Klopp ended up finding success with Endo there, and with McAllister and Szoboszlai already established as the number 8, Gravenberch couldn't break into the first team. But Slot, well, he saw Gravenberch's potential. Maybe it was the Dutch connection. After all, Slot had seen Gravenberch at his best in the Eredivisie, so he knew all of his strengths and weaknesses. The controlled style of Slot benefits Gravenberch because he is excellent on the ball. He can now easily keep the ball and has the freedom to dictate the tempo. His ability to maintain possession and make the right pass out of pressure is vital to the way that Slot wants to play.
Tenure with Gravenberch has been a revelation. It's been absolutely magnificent. When we saw him, I think you and I were at the game, Kenny, the first one of the season. You were there as well. And I think the way that they played and how influential he was. And if that could have gone the other way and maybe he struggled, didn't do as well, they might have thought, well, okay, he's not the man.
That control that the Dutchman is looking for cannot be achieved without a midfielder who is not just an exceptional passer, but has the footballing IQ to know when to carry the ball forward and when to keep the ball. Another Dutch player that was rejuvenated was Gakpo. Klopp wasn't using Gakpo properly. He would often have him operate as a striker or even a central midfielder, positions that were not his best. Gakpo shone for PSV and the Dutch national team playing as a left winger that cuts inside. Well, Slot understood this and has played him in that exact role. Look at Gakpo's goal against Leicester. That's what he can do, and he's done it all season. Scored the opener versus City, equalizer against Brighton and Fulham. In fact, he has been so good that Slot has resorted to often playing Diaz up front just so he can have both players on the pitch at the same time. It's not just because of a Dutch connection that those players have been rejuvenated. It's Slot's fantastic man management. Look at what he has done with Curtis Jones. Now, Jones was actually a regular starter at times for Klopp, but I feel like his game has really hit another level under Slot. Slot understands how to get players to buy into the system. Look at how he handled the Trent situation when he was mad that he got subbed out. Look at how he has handled the contract situations. Despite constant questions from the media, he has always brushed it aside and never given them any quotes or clips that can be used to churn headlines. Players are constantly being rotated, but nobody has their ego hurt. Sometimes Nunez starts, sometimes he comes off the bench. Same thing at times for players like Szoboszlai and Jota, Gakpo and Diaz. The fact that the players are buying into a goal as a team instead of worrying about their individual numbers and stats is reflective of how good of a manager Slot is. Klopp and Slot seem to be following a similar path to Shankly and Paisley. Klopp, like Shankly, was considered the man, an intelligent, charismatic leader who took Liverpool from the bottom to the top, bringing them back to being one of the most elite clubs in world football. Shankly was a man of the people. Without him, Anfield doesn't have the same link to the fans and the players. Klopp was the same way. He embodied the you never walk alone mentality. Both laid the foundation. Paisley was also an incredible manager, and he was able to use the foundation set by Shankly to win 20 trophies for Liverpool in just 9 years. Slot has the opportunity to do the same thing. Use a strong foundation to propel Liverpool into even higher heights. Will he achieve it? Only time will tell. But with a captain like Virgil van Dijk, I don't see why not. To see just how good Van Dijk has been, you have to check out this video right here.